Hey there, friends and enemies, Joper here again, and today I'm talking about another exotic weapon in Destiny 2 that the community has let me know is underrated. This one being Graviton Lance. Now, this is a weapon I used to love. I used all the time back in the day, especially when it first dropped. I thought it was really good, but I wanted to see how it holds up now, so I started using it in a regular Crucible and Iron Banner, and the results were very interesting. So this is a weapon that I feel like doesn't particularly shine anymore anywhere, whether it's PvE or PvP. It is kind of outperformed by another Void Pulse Rifle exotic, the Collective Obligation. So that's one of the major downsides that I've seen. But then also the second part that's interesting to me is that it gets outgunned in straight up matchups by a lot of craftable pulse rifles and other god roll pulse rifles that are legendaries. I mentioned this in a previous video, but I think we do have an exotic problem right now where a lot of the exotics feel underwhelming. So I would love to proc the perk of the Graviton Lance very often. I feel like that would be fantastic to get like multi kills and damage enemies and move on to the next one. But getting the initial kill with this weapon is the hardest part, especially if you're a player who is above average or even average, but not maybe the most cracked player. So that's something to keep in mind, and something that holds the gun back for me personally, because I am an above average PvP player, but this gun just felt like it was constantly getting beat, whether it's a scout rifle or a pulse rifle. And that was insanely frustrating because I just wanted to show it off as much as possible. Now, I did have some good gameplay with it. It isn't the worst exotic out there, and it's definitely usable if it is your favorite. It's not one of those that is going to be completely useless, and I think there's very few exotics in the game that just are unusable. But I will say that it kind of annoys me a little bit that this weapon is one that will not shine anywhere. There's no place that you can be like, okay, this is where you use Graviton Lance and it's going to be awesome. I would love for more exotics, even if they're in just niche places, like whether it's Gambit, whether it's Crucible, whether it's 3v3 versus 6v6 Crucible, whether it's Strikes, wherever the case may be, whatever type of content, there's got to be a place for this weapon to shine, and there just isn't. Again, it is a lot of fun when you're able to chain the ability of this weapon and send out those little arc bubbles that are able to do damage to nearby enemies. But there's so many abilities in the game and so many other weapons that allow you to do that better. Like I was just looking at Incandescent. It's just way more reliable for doing damage to surrounding enemies while you're using a solar weapon or something like that. It just kind of makes, and same thing with Jolt Shot. It just makes something like Graviton Lance feel obsolete at times. And that's the main thing that I felt from this video. I don't think it's underrated. I don't think it's a weapon that anyone will use unless it is their favorite or one that they just don't want to put down because they love the feel of it. You can get used to the way the gun shoots. It's a little jarring at first if you haven't used it in a while as well, which I think also hurts. You use it a little bit and you're like, okay, this gun is trash when you first pick it up. But no, once you get down in the rhythm and you start using it a bit more, you're like, okay, this is pretty solid, I can use this. It just doesn't get any better than that. And I've used enough legendaries recently that they just feel so much crisper. They just feel like they're so much easier to use than something like Graviton Lance. And for that reason, I'm going to say it's not overrated. It's not a weapon I would really recommend, like I said, unless it's your favorite. And it's one that I would love to see buffed, even if it's a PvP buff. Like, give its little additional explosions some crazy damage numbers in PvE. Make it really viable. Allow it to synergize with the new Void perk, the shield perk that's getting buffed in Season 19. Allow it to work with that. Give it a bonus to the shielding or something. And it could be phenomenal. It could be a lot of fun. And I think that is someplace I'd love to see it shine. But as far as PvP goes, there is a chance that pulse rifles will get nerfed in the future, and if the general pulse rifles get nerfed or certain archetypes, this one will probably stay the same, and you'll see it rise through the ranks once again. But for now, I just couldn't say that I would recommend this weapon. I don't think it's underrated, and I think if you use it, you might have fun, but you're probably not going to play your best, in all honesty. So anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Am I wrong? Is this a bad take? Is this is a skill issue on my end? I'd love to hear from you guys. Definitely like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel as well, because we're going to be throwing up tons of Destiny 2 content going forward as we head into Season 19, while launching full into Lightfall in February of next year. So I'm so stoked about the future of Destiny in the immediate time frame. So definitely stay tuned to check that out. I hope you have a good one, and I'll catch you all later.